Hello, friends, and welcome back to the podcast. This is the JRPG Report, and this will be episode 153. We've got a fun podcast for you this week. And first and foremost, let's get out there how much I am enjoying Persona 5 Strikers. I got a notification from Amazon that for some reason it wasn't going to be getting here until actually today, Thursday, but then lo and behold, as they've done before, it magically shows up on the day that it is supposed to, and then makes you all excited and thankful to the service. Wonderful business model. But yeah, I've only got to play it a couple hours Tuesday night, and I am very pleasantly surprised. So while it is certainly not exactly like Persona 5, it is set up like it, and it's almost as if Omega Force, working in tandem with Atlas, kind of recreated that world and brings you right back into it, right down to LeBlanc and all the, as you pass by things where the telephone or the booths, there's a prompt to sit down or to use those. It's like I said, it's not exactly the same graphical style, but it's very, very close to it, very complimentary to it. And you still walk around the streets, same places you've been to 100 times. You can still go into the shops if you like. You can go into Big Bang Burger. So it surprised me in how much of that stuff is still in there. Now, it doesn't have, let's say, like all the social stuffs and school structure. It doesn't have any of that side stuff in there. And then it gets to the combat, which, of course, is as different as could be from Persona 5 and Royal. And it's taken me a little while to get used to it. Like I stated before, I've not really played a Warriors-style game in quite a while, and was disappointed with Dragon Quest Heroes, although it's not quite the same deal. It's very close to it. This one is much, much faster. And being, a bit slower in my reflexes than I used to be as a younger gamer, and maybe that's why I prefer turn-based so much. It's taken some getting used to. It's a lot of fun. And they still managed to put that Persona stamp on things. So there's still the sneak attack. So in the opening area in particular, the enemies are walking around. It's not the huge hordes of enemies that you've seen in some of the videos. It is just that single set enemy. And they are patrolling like a security guard, and you can sneak up on them and, rip their mask off and get into a preemptive attack that way, which then leads to them being weakened and dazed and down, so you can do an all-out attack right away, and you gain an immediate advantage. And just the opposite, if you do not do that and they see you and attack first, you are at a disadvantage, just like the game. So I thought that was really cool. Now, once you engage that enemy, then boom, here come the hordes of enemies. And same thing with your teammates. They're not with you. It is just the one, whichever character you choose to control at that time. And then your teammates jump into the battle with you. It definitely takes some getting used to it. If you are a Persona 5 fan, I cannot recommend it more. And granted, it's just after a very limited amount of playtime, but I am extremely happy. It's kind of like an old friend that you haven't seen for a while. And it's just like things go back to normal, right? Very familiar feel to it, while being very fresh and different. There's still treasure chests to find. There's still items scattered all over the place. They've kind of streamlined some of the RPG elements in terms of like a shop. It's just now online. You do it all very quickly there from the hideout. You don't have to worry about, running down and over to the various shops to upgrade your items. There's kind of a different way of, you still level up your characters, but then you have to spend points to level up your personas. There's a new bond system, and I have barely got into that, but that does seem like a way that you're going to be able to enhance your stats pretty quickly and put on different effects that you would choose. Let's say there was like 10 of them to choose from, and I can only activate, let's say, 3 of them with my initial bond points. So that was kind of cool, getting to choose what I wanted to prioritize over others. It's not easy for me. I'm playing it on normal difficulty, and I know a lot of you are probably like, it's no big deal. It's going to be easy for me. I can only speak for myself. It's going to take some getting used to, let's just say that, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it. We kind of had a hiccup last night when I tried to live stream. My internet was being not cooperative, so I ended up kind of just scrapping the whole deal, and so I'll start night 2 here on night 3 tonight. So if you want to check it out, head on over to the JRPG Report YouTube page, and you can follow along with us. I usually get started around 9:30, 10 o'clock at the latest, and I play for about 2 hours or so. And not only get you check out the game, but we've got a cool little community over there of like-minded fanatical individuals that are as crazy about JRPGs as you are, and I think you'll really fit in and have fun. Especially with this game, I don't have a lot of time to chat, except like during the the downtime in between fights. But there's more than a few that will be happy to welcome you and talk about whatever you want to talk about in that world. We're having a lot of fun over there each night, so I encourage you to check out our nightly live streams. But yeah, very happy with what they are doing so far, and I'll give you another kind of report next week on, I'm assuming, how well things are going. To go along with the launch of it, of course, there was the Western launch trailer. You can check that out on our YouTube channel, but I've shared a link today on our social media channels, Facebook and Twitter, that there was some cool, at least one very cool looking wallpaper that got put out there with it. And if you follow the link over to Persona Central on Twitter, which I would recommend you give them a follow if you're on there, if you're interested, they are an excellent source of information. They had a link on their page, and I got I think about 30. They weren't wallpapers, but they were kind of like half wallpapers, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of using those for my thumbnails for the live stream, and they look fantastic as well. Coming up on March the 9th at 2000 Japan Central Time. I'm not sure what that is wherever you're at. You'll have to do the math. Dengeki Online will host Falcom's 40th anniversary live stream. That's right. They've been going at it for a while. Pretty cool that they've been around since 1981, like yours truly. But you can check out that live stream on YouTube. I've got the link to this story from Gametsu over on Twitter and on Facebook. You can get the direct link in there. So the broadcast will feature the intermediate results announced of this 40th anniversary survey, a look back at Falcom's 40-year history from old titles to new, and the latest information on the Legend of Heroes Kuro no Kaseki. So I am anticipating that we will finally see this game in video form, and I'm looking forward to it. And I really hope they don't change things too much. We know changes are, they are coming, but hopefully it's still the Legend of Heroes that we know and love, and just putting some sort of new spin on it where it's not so, a little more fresh feeling. But yeah, we will find out quite a bit more, I do believe, there on March the 9th. Of course, Falcom President Toshihiro Kondo will be there, along with the Dengeki Game media staff. I'll be covering this, of course, as soon as I see something. I'll try to post that link over on YouTube as well if you'd like to check it out, and we will be covering it on the podcast thereafter. Let me grab my Let me grab the old calendar. So let's see, March the 9th is a Tuesday. So yeah, we'll cover that on the March 11th podcast, and hopefully have some really fun things to talk about. Just looking ahead, remember we are looking forward to the New Game Plus Expo next week on Thursday the 4th. That goes on, I think it's 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. As of right now, guys, work has scheduled me a day that I'm supposed to be there working. I'm going to try to figure some stuff out. So the best I could say is that podcast may be later that day, possibly even on Friday. So if it is true that I have to go in and work, that means next week's podcast, next week's, will be on Friday the 5th. But I'll keep you guys updated on the socials. But life, it happens, and there's not a ton that you can do about it. In other news, let's just take this at face value, and I'll read you what happened. So, Final Fantasy XIV producer Yoshinada appeared during the Game Hack Corner on the latest episode of Tokyo FM radio show One Morning, and he briefly discussed FF16. And so here are the tidbits from the translation of that. Quote, Final Fantasy XVI is quite action-oriented. It's a Final Fantasy featuring story and action. The question was posed that what about players who aren't good at action games? Man, do I fall into that category? Maybe I do. And he responded to say, we really want players to enjoy the story. So we're preparing a mode for players who want to focus on story. Since we have quite the substantial support actions, we're of course preparing something easy to operate and smooth to play. Don't worry too much, those players who aren't good at action games. And the last little tidbit, he says, I'm from the generation that's been playing the Final Fantasy series from the first game in real time. He said, I'm almost in my 50s. I think the Warriors of Light have grown up in their own worlds, so I want to create a world of Final Fantasy that those who know the good and bad of reality can also be passionate about. I believe there are certain hardships that are experienced when becoming an adult, so I want to make them the main theme of this game, something that those who grew up playing Final Fantasy can and understand reality can still enjoy, get something out of, and think about. Well, I mean, that sounds cool, right? I mean, most, this audience is, I'm not going to say you guys are as old as I am, but, you've been playing games for a while. Most of us are adults, and there are certain things that go along with that, especially once you get really complicated and juggling career, your life, and, family life. So I'm interested to see what he means by that statement. But I guess the main thing that you're going to take away from it and be a little worried about is what we feared, that it's quite action-oriented. You can tell that from the trailer. I mean, they're not hiding the fact that this is, and the comparisons have been made several times, as Devil May Cry meets Final Fantasy. It's really tough because we just got through this with 15. And I can't imagine the overall reaction to that game was positive in terms of the way the battle system was presented, right? It had some good elements. The game was broken, but I can't, and not that we need a straight turn-based system, although I would prefer that. It does seem like it has gone completely the other direction. And at this point from the trailer, it looks like it's a single-player action game, which says nothing Final Fantasy. The overall look of the game does. Some of the other things that were thrown in there. So, yeah, there's more than a few reasons for concern. This series has kind of went astray. talking 13 and 15. 14 seems to have brought it back to the right path, but of course it's an MMO, so in my book, it doesn't count as much as the other ones do. We have high hopes for this game, but then there's statements like this that really cause you to scratch your head and wonder where it's going. And then the other segment of that, people who aren't good at action games, is it going to have like an auto battle feature? Is that what he's implying? You can lessen the difficulty all that you want, I guess, or make it an easy, baby mode almost, but I don't know what that comment means either. So it's always good to get some information like this, but then you have to infer things and you can get yourself kind of dismayed. But we're a long ways away from this game being made for new hardware. We've speculated before when it might come out that, of course, you've got Remake Part 2 out there as well. So you'd have to imagine this is 2 years away. I'm just guessing at. And maybe we'll have some readers for optimism at some point, but it's not looking great at the moment. All right, let's get back happy and change the mood a little bit. NS America has said they will release the Caligula Effect 2 for PlayStation 4 and Switch this fall in North America and Europe. The publisher announced it will feature English text with Japanese voiceovers. So they're not doing a translation for this in terms of voices, which should lead to a quicker turnaround. The game is due out in Japan on June the 24th. So, saying that the fall, that's really not that long of a wait afterwards. There will be a limited edition, of course, for $99.99. You can pre-order that on the NIS America online store. You can get that link inside the article over on our Facebook and Twitter channels. Of course, don't forget, give us a like on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. It will include a copy of the game, the artwork of the Caligula Effect 2 hardcover art book, the Regret and X Vocal Collection 2-disc soundtrack, a Tatefushi Academy school bag, a digital download for that 2-disc soundtrack, and 3 bonus limited edition tracks, a student ID card, and of course the collector's box to put it all in. I was about to say, NS America, they are, they're pretty bogged down with work to do this time. However, if you're talking about a game that's just translation and not have to do voiceover work, I don't have as much of an issue with it. They should be able to turn this thing around. Here's an overview of the game. We've not learned a ton about it, so let's talk about it for just a second. They say a virtual doll named Regret has created the world of Redo in order to save people from their past regrets and by unknowingly imprisoning them in a simulation. However, this paradise has shaken to the core where a virtual idol named X breaks into Regret's virtual reality and restores a high school student's memories of the real world. In order to escape Redo, they reestablish the Go Home Club, a resistance group that seeks to fight against Regret and her enforcers. So, yeah, here's the key features. They say, welcome to the Tatefushi Academy. Meet the fresh faces of the Go Home Club, whose memories are awakened by the virtual doll X. Recruit other students to aid you. Challenge the virtual doll Regret and her minions, and escape the false world of Redo. There are breakout battles. Utilize the imaginary chain to predict your enemy's moves and form the perfect strategy, and employ calculated techniques to gain a tactical advantage in combat. And there's an unforgettable paradise. Masterfully crafted story scenarios from Persona writer Tadashi Satomi and director Yakuma Yanamuka unite with a pulse-pounding, Vocaloid-inspired soundtrack, making the world of Redo a memorable visual and audio experience. I completely butchered all those names and words. Words are tough. Yeah, so this is like the, I think I'd read this somewhere else before. This was the original Persona 1, maybe Persona 2 writer that is involved and director involved in this one. So that might be why it kind of looks like those earlier Persona titles. But yeah, I mean, we kind of thought this one was coming out. It showed up at the Japanese Nintendo Direct last week, but we didn't get it here in the West. There is a live stream going on February 27th. You got to get up pretty early here on the East Coast, even earlier on the West Coast. They say it's from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would imply, of course, it's a Japanese live stream. We may learn a little bit more about it, but I kind of doubt it since it's Japanese, and we'll have to wait for some translation issues. But yeah, coming to the West this fall from NIS America. A new, amazing-looking trailer came out for Nier Replicant called the Attract trailer. Of course, this one is coming out worldwide. Everybody will have it by April the 23rd. It'll be the day before in Japan and Asia for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and PC via Steam. Of course, if you want to check that out, head over to our YouTube channel. Getting pretty excited about this game. I think it's helped me since I just played Nier Automata less than a year ago. So this is kind of rekindling all those vibes and looking pretty awesome. Speaking of Automata, if you were to just guess how many copies, both physically and digitally, this game has sold, what would you guess? We just talked about last week, Trials of Mana and, Tales of Vesperia crossed the 1 million mark, right? Now, Nier Automata has been out for a few more years. Obviously, it's been at a good price for a while as well. I think you can pick it up less than $20 at the time, but if I said 5.5 million, wouldn't that kind of exceed what you thought the game had sold? It certainly did for me. They reported last December they had reached 5 million, so they've added 500,000 onto those sales numbers in that amount of time. And I can't argue against it, as I had a fantastic time playing that game. Now, it is short, so the only knock I would have said about it when it launched, because it's been out. That's February 2017 in Japan. We got it March the 7th. So yeah, 2017. It's been out 4 years. Very shortly to be 4 years. So if I'd have bought it day one, I might have been a little less happy with paying 60 for it, but I got it for less than 20. And I think I got the Yorha edition too, so got some extras in there. There was no way they weren't going to make more of this genre, this game, selling that many copies, and that's why we're getting Replicant in April. Speaking of Buku's sales, the total worldwide shipments and digital sales for Octopath Traveler have exceeded 2.5 million. So they've added 500,000 in the past year. That's a pretty decent amount. Of course, this one has been out since July of 2018. They did that mobile offshoot for it in Japan, but obviously that, Project Triangle game that we talked about last week for during the Nintendo Direct does seem to be kind of spiritually a successor to it. I can't imagine there's not another Octopath coming, right? We just said it sold 2.5 million copies. That would certainly seem to be something that is worthy of a sequel. Perhaps it's coming for the rumored Nintendo Switch Pro. I don't know. That's still, much in the rumor. Whatever the next one is, we'll have to wait and see. That would be a pretty awesome launch title if that is, in fact, where it's headed. But it demands a sequel. Let's just put it that way. I really love fun stories like this. We got the Western release box art for the upcoming Neptunia Reverse game. That's the one coming to PS5, the remaster me and Dalton talked about a little bit last week. I believe that's the one. Anyway, we got the box art for it. Yes, it's the updated and enhanced version of Hybrid Dimension Neptunia Rebirth 1. It's out now in Japan. coming to the West sometime in 2021. I mean, they've already made the box art for it, so I can't imagine it's that far away. Check it out. It's on our social channels, of course. But what's really cool is Gametsu posted the link to the Amazon listing for the original Japanese box art. What's really, really cool is you can, it's a reversible cover. So even though we've got a different cover in the West, you can reverse it and put it on the outside. And it's so interesting because, you know, if you want to be stereotypical about Western cultures, is more accepting and, you know, risque adult themes are more accepted. Japan is supposed to be more reserved in that aspect, right? So check out the Japanese cover, and there's certainly a lot more of a certain female part visualized, and then you look at the Western, and it's definitely more covered up. And it's humorous to me that what we think of is not necessarily the case. It is, even though it's saying rating pending, it may get that mature rating on it once it comes out. Who quite knows? But yeah, I love seeing stuff like that, and then seeing the differences in covers. But an awesome move by Idea Factory, you know, including that as the reverse cover. Cool, good move on their part. As we do every week, it seems like we're getting another character trailer for the upcoming JRPG Maglum Lord. This one is Juliet. This is the fourth character trailer by publisher D3, developer Felistia. Of course, this one still doesn't have a Western date, but it is coming out in Japan for PS4 and Switch on March the 18th. Head over to the old YouTube channel if you want to check that out. Two things over there that you can also... Well, no, I didn't put this one on there, actually. I need to do that. If you're looking forward to Akaba's Trip, Hellbound, and Debriefed, actually go just check out the articles on our Facebook or Twitter channel if you want to get the links to these. I had been putting a lot of these together and over on YouTube. They're all in Japanese, and they're kind of all the same thing, and it doesn't really translate very well. I mean, nobody was really checking them out anyway. Once we get Western ones, I'll put those up starting more often. But yeah, there's two new character trailers. Yeah, you know, can't tell a thing that's going on. There was a pretty cool live stream with 25 minutes of gameplay footage, and I'm going to put up the air quotes on gameplay as I kind of skimmed through it pretty quickly, and all I saw was a lot of text going on. I didn't see any actual gameplay, which has been introduced before. And of course, there's a remaster of an old game, so it's not like you can't find that out there. But I didn't share it. I didn't put the video on YouTube just because, I mean, unless you know Japanese, you're not going to know a thing that's going on. And that's just not a good time. We had last week, Bravely Default 2 was released worldwide. I know a lot of you guys are probably enjoying that. I've mentioned this more than a time or two before that I had to make the choice. Well, actually, no, it's not. It's tomorrow, isn't it? 26th. I may have spoken too soon. Anyway, you will be enjoying Bravely Default 2. I chose to enjoy Persona 5 Strikers, just... You know, not unlimited funds. Can't have them all. But if you are curious, the latest Famitsu scores came out for it. And remember, they give 4 grades, 4 averages, or different reviews for it. And each one gave it a 9 out of 10. And I think this publication... I don't think they really give out 10s, or it's very rare. So a 9 is about as great as you could ask for. And maybe not surprising, but certainly like, hey, that's awesome. We like to see, we don't want to make bad purchases, right? And so when a game gets a good score, it usually reinforces that, hey, we made a good investment. We made a good choice to you know, go out on a limb and purchase something before those things have come out. And Usually those games are rewarded. Another upcoming live stream for Monster Hunter will be March the 8th. That's going to go on at 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern. So again, this is 2300 Japan time. So I guess it's kind of more tuned to them. On March the 8th, it's going to be the Monster Hunter digital event. March the 9th will be the new Monster Hunter Rise gameplay, hunting tutorials, and director Q&A. And then on the 11th, they don't have a time for this one yet, but it's going to be the community live stream. So yeah, they're doing a big to-do March 8th, 9th, and then I guess taking the 10th off and coming back on the 11th to do that. The game Monster Hunter Rise is due out March 26th worldwide. They'll also be covering Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin, which is due out for the Switch this summer. That'll be included in some of the festivities, the latest information on that. So if you're a Monster Hunter fanatic, you can check out those two things here on March the 8th through the 11th. And speaking of Monster Hunter Rise, Capcom released an original soundtrack mini album on a bevy of sound listening streaming services. You can get on Apple Music, Spotify, or Amazon Music even. There was 6 tracks on there. Kimura's Song of Purifications, Brave Hunters, Kimura's Song of Purifications, Hinao, I'm not sure the difference there. Sanctuary Abandoned by the Gods, Barbarous Beast, Magna Mello, and Proof of a Hero, the Rise version. So if you want to check those out, you can if you've got either Amazon Music, Apple Music, or Spotify before its upcoming release. A bit of odd news. It was announced that Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, the story for Kingdom Hearts Cross Union will be coming to a close, and Dark Road will conclude in April 2021. And once the story is over, the game will end service on March the 30th, 2021. They say, however, an offline mode will be available for users to experience. But yeah, all online services will end for that game. They said it's been going on for 5 years. So I don't know. Just pass on news. There was a message from Nomura as well, kind of just saying how things were coming to a close. Kind of sad news if you are a fan of that series, but I guess they all got to end eventually. Let's see. We got in Japan the first DLC pack for Disgaea 6 Defiance of Destiny came out live, and it we knew it was going to have a couple characters that you could pay for separately of Adele, Rosalind, and Laurel. And those cost, 550 yen each. I'm not sure how much that translates to. And then a free Asagi. There was I guess, bonus pack in there as live. And I don't know if we're going to get these things over here or not. But the HoloLive collaboration set included 5 of the following 5 units themed after popular HoloLive virtual YouTubers. They had Fubu King, which is a preenie. They had Rusha, Ruusha, which is Succubus. They had Torte, Psychic. They had Wantami, Evil Eye, and Pol as a mage. So I don't know what all that means. I'll be fair. But, and certainly no idea if that is going to come its way west or not. I guess it's a possibility, of course. But I shared those trailers over on our YouTube channel if you're curious as to what exactly that looks like, and something you might be looking forward to. Coming up, this is tomorrow? Yeah, February 26th. We had the Nintendo Direct last week. Well, they're doing a dedicated, I guess, Direct. Pokemon Presents will be at 7 a.m. Pacific time or 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it'll be about 20 minutes worth of Pokemon news the Pokemon Company announced. You can watch it on YouTube. I shared the link on our socials, and you can get a direct link to that. The article in question, I was asking if it was to be featuring the rumored Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes. I can neither confirm nor deny that, and I guess next week we'll cover anything news-wise that comes out of that announcement. If you are still playing, or not still playing, but a new patch is out for Sword Art Online Alsatian Lycris. Patch 1.3 is out, and you get the story update number 2, Ancient Apostles, the Night of Contradictions. So there you go. If you're enjoying that game or you want to get back into it, that patch is live now. Is that right? Well, I don't see a... Yeah, it's available now. So you can get back into it if you so desire. I got one final thing to share with you guys before we wrap up episode 153. Don't forget to give us a like on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Make sure you give us a subscription on YouTube. We're climbing ever closer to that magic 1,000 number, when YouTube might give me a couple pennies each week. And I'd really appreciate if you guys would support us over there. You can support us directly, either through the link at the bottom of this via Anchor, or head over to our Patreon channel, and you can support us that way. Just search JRPG Report. We are there. If you're on YouTube, there's a direct link on there, and I believe on the other channels as well. I would really, really appreciate it. I love bringing this podcast to you guys each and every week, sometimes even more than one, depending if we have a special or not. And I really enjoy putting stuff over on YouTube for you guys to enjoy as well, including video versions of this podcast with all the trailers and images and fun stuff that we talk about on a weekly basis. One of the things over there on our YouTube channel that just came across this morning is a brand new game, a brand new IP, even from Nippon Ichi. They released the first teaser trailer and information on the newly announced RPG, The Wicked King and the Noble Hero. This is from the Liar Princess and the Blind Prince creator, Sayaka Oda. It is due out for PlayStation 4 and Switch on June the 24th in Japan. So this is the first announcement for it. First thing I can say is I don't know about a Western release for it or not. Maybe. I mean, we got Liar Princess and the Blind Prince over here, so I don't see why not. You definitely want to go check out this trailer. It's a little maybe kiddish or simplistic looking, but I really kind of dig it. It's a storybook type game. So a picture book RPG, they are calling it. And this is a game. This game is an RPG starring the human child Yu, who longs to become a hero, and the dragon Overlord who fosters her. It is a completely new title from the planner and character designer of The Liar Princess and Blind Prince, which rose to popularity with its warm, hand-painted style graphics and heart-rendering story of interspecies communication. The same atmosphere players enjoyed in that game, with even further evolved graphics. With line art-esque graphics that look as charming as a picture book, players can enjoy a heartwarming story born from the interspecies communication between dragon and human. Here's the setup for the story. The world was once ruled by the dragon Overlord, who possesses great power. However, a brave young hero brought an end to his reign. "I do not want to take your life," said the hero. So instead, he cut off one of the Overlord's horns, the source of his power, and let him live. After, the hero went to the lonely Overlord, who was healing in solitude, and spoke to him. And thanks to the days spent with the hero, his terrifying nature as the Overlord gradually grew more peaceful. Before he knew it, he and the hero were close friends. One day, the hero appeared before the Overlord with a life-threatening injury and said, "Please raise my daughter well in my stead, for I will die soon." In his arms, he held a baby. It is for this moment I was able to survive," the Overlord thought. After after the hero's daughter was raised by the Dragon King and former overlord. Hearing about her father's adventures from the Dragon King, she too longs to become a hero. The time had come, the Dragon King thought. He would raise the girl to become a noble hero like her father, even if she has to defeat him one day. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? I mean, outside of like a children's storybook, you're not going to see or hear of something like that. You definitely want to check out that trailer. As I said, it looks pretty cool. You know, as a father myself, it's kind of tugging on some heartstrings. So this may not be for everyone. There's a bunch more information and tons of images and sketches that go along with this. If I get some time, I may throw all this into a slideshow. There's a lot going on here. My goodness. But yeah, so check that out. I shared it if you want to check it out on your own before I can get to it. But I'm kind of looking forward to this one. I really hope it makes its way to the West. There's always a chance with games like this that it won't. But I don't know. These stories seem to be pretty popular all over the world. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that after its June release in Japan, we get a localization for it via our friends at NIS America. So that is going to wrap it up for this episode 153. I've had a lot of fun bringing it to you guys, as I do each and every week. And like I said before, I'll go ahead and probably plan on it. It'll probably take, if there's a bunch of announcements at New Game Expo anyway, it might take me a while to get everything together. But hopefully I can bring you a podcast on the 4th next week. But if not, look for it on the 5th as soon as I can get it out there for you guys to enjoy. My name is James Fisher. Thank you so much for tuning in this week and every week. We'll see you guys again next time. So get back out there and level up.